Here we are, guys. It is just Jax and Guest. It is the second Monday of the month, and here we are. It doesn't feel like it's been a week since William was the guest last week. I tell you, that dude, if you were here last week, you got to see one of my besties in real life. So if you've never been to just Jax and Guest, I'm Jackie, or some people call me Jax. I highlight awesome people, and my whole vibe is a whole blend of my different passions. I focus on travel and re-entry with the criminal justice world. And I love humans. I love humans being supported by other people. I love to make sure that people are taking care of each other and they're taking care of themselves. So I am all about mental wellness. I am a social worker by background. This is not a therapy session. You will never get counseling through a YouTube video. So please make sure that you're aware of that as we talk about some of the things that we will probably cover tonight. Guys, it's a Monday, right? So some of you guys have been with me almost every week, and it can be kind of intense. I mean, it's late at night for me. For some people on the other side of the world, it's super early. And it was a Monday. I have 3 staff off on vacation today and 2 called in sick. Guys, we only have 8.5 of us. So we were rocking all day long. So the idea of being alert and awake at 9 o'clock is kind of interesting for me. But thank you guys for being here. I see Jeremy and Amber, she stayed awake. And then we've got Jamie and Kristin and Kristin are getting ready to come on stage. I'm so excited. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for being here. We'll get to see you soon. If you have any comments, feel free to start putting them up there. Christy, thank you for being here. And those of you watching on replay, it's okay to go back to the post, whether it's through YouTube or whether it's through LinkedIn. Write your comments. Make sure to tag either me or Christine or Kristin on who you want to answer the question, because we'll make sure to get the alert then and we can go back and make sure that we do that. So just a couple things. So again, they're going to be on stage shortly and we're going to hear some really good stuff. But I do want to share a little something. So if you've been here before, do you notice here? How do I do this? Oh, my fingers are always backwards on here. I don't know how to do it, but do you notice anything? There we go. Do you notice anything different underneath my name? Okay. So by day, I am an executive director of a nonprofit here in my town, and I am in Michigan in the United States. But I have multiple side businesses, and usually my headline, or what we call sometimes a tagline, is usually Tripping with Jax / Home Reentry Services. I do have those 2 businesses, okay? They are my thing. They're my passion projects. They're something that I really not just enjoy doing. It's something that I believe in. I believe in helping other people travel in a way that they feel safe and comfortable. I believe in helping people when they get out of the criminal justice world or before they even get released, but trying to make it a smoother, better place. But the world is a weird place right now. And I made a decision today, and I did bounce this idea off my former coach, Melissa, but she's also a business partner and a friend now. I'm making an announcement right now. I am not closing my side businesses. However, with the current climate in the United States, I just can't encourage people to travel to the United States. I can't encourage people to risk their lives because of what's going on here. I feel strongly that we all deserve to be so happy and to be able to see beautiful, amazing things. I believe we deserve a lot of cool things, guys, in terms of getting out of our hometown, our state, our country. And right now, it's not safe for people to come visit America. I'm not going to encourage that. I am not going to be a part of that planning process. Now, I personally am making some personal decisions on what my travel looks like, but I'm not going to encourage or have people do things that might put them in an unsafe situation. So I am going to be posting this on both my Tripping with Jax Facebook business page and my LinkedIn business page, but I wanted you guys to be the first to hear about it because some of you guys have been talking about, when I travel or when's your next trip or when's this going on? And I just wanted to make sure that you guys realize that I'm not closing, but I am not going to take clients at this time to talk about anything travel related. And just because that happens, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing for me personally, change is okay. Your business plan needs to adapt as times change. This is not something I expected a few months ago that I would be putting a pause on anything. But it's something that I want you guys to be very safe and be very aware of what you guys want to put yourself into. So, with that being said, I'm so excited to introduce my guests. Yes, mental health hype woman. That's kind of a just an easier name for me. I see some great people in the audience. I'm not going to shout you guys all out because otherwise we won't have as much time for Kristin and Christine. But I want to let you know a couple things. So first of all, LinkedIn can be an amazing place. It can connect people from all over the globe. I can see we've already got a couple countries in the house. We've got lots of states being represented. So thank you for being there. We have interesting connections. Both Kristin and Christine and I have different ways we've met each other. So fun fact, Kristin and I, guys, we're co-authors in this book. It is Beyond Boundaries. It was a book that was published by Dr. CJ. And we wrote in this book with some amazing co-authors. And if you look really close on the back of the book, our names are right across from each other. And we still didn't even know each other. How random is that? Then my dear friend Amanda, sorry, Amber, it's been that kind of a day. Amber is just like, hey, her and I met in public or in person from meeting from LinkedIn. And she's like, hey, I think you know my friend Christine. And hey, I want to kind of visit her the next time we travel. And I'm like, oh, okay. I think I'm connected to her. And boom, guess what? Not only have we become super fun and close friends, we've seen each other in person a couple times, but Kristin and Christine, Green Book Trilogy, me in the Red Book Trilogy, published by Nick, the gifted bipolar writer. We got pictures. We're in the same trilogy. Guys, how many authors, co-authors, publishers can say they are in a I can't even say that word tonight. It's late, guys. A simultaneously released trilogy. It just doesn't happen, right? Guys, these people are amazing. You got to read their stories. You got to read how they got together, what they do. You got to read about them on their own because it's good stuff. Are you ready for me to be done talking? Because I want to introduce these two ladies. Are you ready? So usually on Just Jackson Guests, we usually have two speakers. Sometimes there's only one, but usually it's two of them. And one comes on stage and does talking, and then the other one goes on stage after the other one's done. Tonight, it's both of them because they're kind of like a duo. Are you ready? Kristin.
Hello. How are you?
Christine.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Oh, ladies, it's so great. Now, Christine and I just hung out in person last weekend, so it's been a long time since we've had time to talk, right?
Right.
And then, Kristin, I still have not met you in public or in person.
It will happen.
We got to.
It will happen.
I'm probably not going to do the whole jumping out of airplane thing.
I was going to say, we're going to invite her for that one.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that greatly. So I think you guys have watched bits and pieces or some of the different shows that we've done. I always like to give you guys like full reign of the stage after you both answer a couple questions, because we want to kind of like warm up a little bit, and we want to make sure that people know you as who you are. And even though you're a duo, even though you're offering these amazing services and you got this great business name and everything, you deserve to be who you are first. Okay. So Christine, I am going to start with you first. Are you ready for the first question?
Yes.
Okay. Your first question: name two things you are proud of that you have done or accomplished.
The two things that I'm particularly proud of is, first of all, I was nominated out of my school to be the teacher of the year. So I represented our school. Then we had to do a binder and then submit it. And then it was evaluated. And I was in the top 10 for our school corporation. So that was an honor because it's an inner city school and there's a lot of different schools, a lot of teachers that were represented. The other thing is this actually goes a little bit, it's going to overlap with Kristin, because one of my goals was to write a book. And so Kristin and I did write a book, and then also trying to figure out how to write. I'm used to writing curriculum first for students, but then how to flip it and do adult programming. So that was a big shift, even though it doesn't really seem like it. It was a big shift and trying to figure out how to do that and how to make it work. So that's something that I was particularly proud of. And not only did we do that, but we did it within a year's time. We developed about 21 programs. So that was huge. So
That is amazing. Congratulations. That is not a small feat, either one of those things. Kristin, to you, same question, two things that you are proud of.
Absolutely. I think I've thought a lot about this question in terms of, how to answer and which direction to take it in, whether it's personal or professional. So I'm kind of going to do a mixture of both. The first thing I think I'm most proud of most recently is that for the last 3 years, I've been working on the national professional development team for Catapult Learning. And it has allowed me to take my knowledge to that national level and train teachers and travel all over the United States, helping teachers, supporting them in their classrooms. And then in addition to that, I think this is definitely something that's in my personal world, but it's helped me professionally that I've learned. I think this comes with age, how to set boundaries better. And just learning how to have healthy boundaries that still allow me to help people and do things, but also be respectful to myself and making sure that I'm taking care of myself.
Oh, that's key. Talk about mental wellness. How can we preach to people what they can do differently if we're not doing it for ourselves? I love that. Oh, that's a great one. Guys, start getting your questions in for Kristin and Christine. So we're going to be talking a lot about parenting and education and different things like that. Even if you don't have a little one in school, even if you don't care about school systems, guess what? You have nieces and nephews and grandkids and neighbor kids and kids down the street and people at church and people that are your employees' kids. Some of this information applies way more than you might think it does. So I'm super excited that you guys are here, but get the questions going because otherwise some people wait until the end and then it's like, whoa, we got to do this. Now, something you guys might not know about me, and I don't even know if the two of you guys know this. I was actually an elementary school counselor for 4 school years, priority school, which means it was a very, in the state of Michigan, we used to track kids by the lowest math and reading levels. And the school I did elementary counseling in was in the top 3 lowest. And so it was a tough situation. And so as we say that, some of the things that you guys see, I got to see from outside and work one-on-one or in small groups with kids. And you guys have had to work with full classrooms and have so much different stuff. But we're going to be able to learn through each other from this because I also was a school board member for 10 years and a parent for both of my kids' full careers. And you see it from different lenses. And that's one thing that I really want people to understand is you guys are telling each other, and you guys aren't done with your questions yet before you start doing other things. But it's important that people realize we may run into these situations, even if it's not our situation right now. So that's why I want to make sure to put that out there, because when I had different lenses looking at some of this, it hit you in a different way. And so I'm excited for tonight, and I'm excited for you guys to announce some of the things on how people can follow you and learn more and use your services and all that cool stuff too. But before we get to that, Kristin, one area that you are still growing in, because we're humans, we never want to stop growing, right?
Absolutely. Again, a question that I've gone back and forth over, what to specifically say. I think the newness and the greenness of being a business owner, Christine and I know the content of what we do very well, but we're still learning that the other side of the business, world that, we aren't familiar with from being in public schools for so many years.
See, you didn't even need to really think about that question because we just talked about it before we went live a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right.
Christine, now where are you growing right now? What is something that you're doing?
So I'm getting ready to take off my educational hat and placing that over here, and now putting on my business hat. So that's going to be a change. And so going, how do you approach businesses and talking to different daycare providers, different schools, and getting our foot in the door. So that's going to be taking over now. We're we were working like on the weekends, we were working in the evenings and doing that hustle. Now I have a lot more time that I'm going to be able to dedicate to that. So, and then also, I guess I'll go ahead and mention it, but hopefully nobody hears it too loudly. Tech. I'm going to be working on tech myself, learning it myself. So that's, that's
I
what I'm
love
going to
it.
be doing.
I love it. The coolest thing about tech is it's even if you learn it perfectly today, it's changing by the end of the night
Yes,
or tomorrow
absolutely.
morning. So definitely we're learning together, right, ladies? I love that. So, Christine, if you could travel anywhere right now, anywhere in the world, no matter what, where would you go?
So there's probably a couple places. So I would like to go to Greece,
Mm,
Ireland, and Australia. So there's my couple places. So
I love that. If you had to pick one first, Christine, which one is the first one?
so it used to be Greece, but I'm gonna have to say Ireland. And the
Mm,
reason why is because I was wanting to take my mom to Ireland, and that was right before COVID hit. So we were getting our passports. We actually had our passports. And so my late husband and I were getting ready to take my mom to Ireland. So I would like to be able to go to Ireland and to be able to travel there for them since they weren't able to make it.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Kristen, your turn. Where would you go?
Absolutely. I would go to Italy, and I can't pick one place in Italy. I would have to travel all around and see all of the cities and see all of the different towns and beach places and all of the wonderfulness.
I love that. So it's funny because Italy was never really on my list because it seemed like so many people always go there or they always say that.
Yeah.
But the more you research it, the more you see pictures, the more you see the differences all over the country. So it's not
Yes.
like you said, you can't just go to one part of a country and
Right.
it's the same everywhere. So I
Right.
love that. Ladies, we're already getting some questions in the house, but before
Yes.
we get too much going on, I just want to highlight a couple things. So first and foremost, look at these ladies. You thought they were just going to be professional. They were going to come in here and just act like they're going to tell you what to do. First and foremost, we all honor our privilege. Yes, we are three white women trying to tell you that we know everything about education, but guess what? We want to learn and we want to grow and we want to laugh because that's how some of the best learning happens, no matter your age. And I got to laugh at you guys because I kind of know the backstory on why this happened. And I do believe, are those supposed to be apples that you guys got?
Yes.
The teachers, right? Do you know up until 10 minutes before the show, and I've seen this picture multiple times, I thought they were punching gloves. I'm like, sometimes you got to really duke it out at school, right? I thought that was the funniest thing. I mean, why did it just now hit me? Maybe because I've always seen the picture like on my phone and it wasn't big enough or something. But you guys are amazing and awesome. And I want to get to some of the questions people have. But first, I want you guys to talk a little bit about what you want to talk about. Kristen, I'm going to turn it over to you first.
Sure. I think the thing that I'm most excited about with our work is that we did a lot of research when we first were getting started and really kind of picked an area that we felt that we would be able to really get the biggest bang for our buck and make a difference. So helping parents learning how to be better advocates for their children and how to support their children better in the home is just something that feels natural to me as a next step from being in the classroom teaching kids. So I'm really excited about this new chapter because I feel like this is almost uncharted territory that nobody's talking about. And this is a way to really bridge that gap between home and school.
That's huge. And there is a huge gap. And Christine, I know you see that gap and you have kindergartners. And we think the younger the kids, the more involved the parents are, but that doesn't always happen, guys. And it's a gap and it's not like you can just tell the little kindergartners or first graders, oh, make sure your parent calls me tonight. They're not going to remember or understand. How do you deal with some of that, Christine?
I'm going to count my blessings over the years. It is forming strong partnerships with the parents and forming that bridge right from the start, so they know it's a partnership. So I am on Class Dojo. And so my parents can send me messages, so it doesn't go through my phone, but I can have the app and I can see it in real time, like who's messaging me and those kinds of things. It's doing those positive phone calls as a teacher and reaching out to parents and asking their opinion. This is what I've tried. What do you suggest? Do you have any more suggestions? I've had parents that have been upset. And so you have to de escalate, because saying that I've never had an upset parent, that, I mean, who's going to believe that? Because it's just not real. So you have to de escalate the situation. So you have to listen to them. You have to paraphrase back to them. So what I'm hearing you saying is this, is that the case? And then they'll repeat back yes or no. And then I'll invite them to I'll remind them that this is a partnership, that we need to work together to help their child. And then I will state the positive attributes that their child has, so they know that I really love their child. I have their child's best interest, and we need to work together. So how are we going to do that? Um, and then we bring in a team. I don't care if it's the grandparents, the parents, whatever, and we come up with a plan together. So it's not just myself doing it, but it's a wraparound approach, because it takes a village. It's just not the teacher, it's just not the parent. And when we did our Venn diagram, it shows that we have that link. Are you pulling it up now,
I
Krista?
was just getting ready to.
Okay. So we really need to be able to work together, and being able to lower the defenses so we can work together is very helpful.
Oh, I'm on blur, so you can't see it very
Oh,
well.
yeah.
There we go.
There it is.
Yay.
So
That's
we
amazing.
did. So there was no Venn diagram between home and school. Kristen, I couldn't find any. Do you want to take over, Kristen, and talk about that?
Sure. So we created a Venn diagram of all of the shared skills that students are working on at home and school. So in the shared area of the Venn diagram, we had social skills, real world skills, communication skills, emotional skills, and community skills. And then separate from that, on the parent end of things, we had at home that they were working on family beliefs and household rules. And then at school, teachers are working on academic content and classroom rules. But other than that, we're really sharing all of those other areas that we're, raising kids to do different things within, whether it be, something academic or social, emotional, or even behavioral, teaching them those soft skills that they need to have, and in addition to those academics and, reading and writing and math and all that.
So I'm going to just jump right in, because it kind of talks about what you guys were just talking about. So Ave put, who inspires you to do what you do? So when I think of a teacher, I always think, oh, they must have had the best teacher in the world, and that's why they wanted to do it. So I don't know if that's even close to what most teachers think, but that's kind of what I think. So if you guys want to hit his question, feel free, Kristin, if you want to jump in first.
Sure. I saw that question pop up and immediately thought my father. My father is an educator, and because he spent so many years in the school system, we actually overlapped for a while. And I just have an extreme amount of respect for who he is as an individual, but who he is also as an educator. He worked for years as a high school English teacher and then became a principal for several years. So I would definitely say is my father. That's for amazing.
Sure. Yeah, I love that. How about you, Christine?
So mine would be more what inspires you to do what you do.
Mhm.
So helping other people, seeing the light bulb moments go with the students, seeing when, let's say, I talk about caring for others in the community and what that might look like, and then seeing the children play it out in real time, taking care of one another. If somebody's having a hard day, they'll go over and they'll give a hug to another child and comfort them, help another child with deep breathing. So it's, for me, it's seeing what I value, and how I think society should look, and how I can play it out in my classroom and see how love can build. And that's a part that I'm going to be really missing a whole lot. Sorry, I'm probably going to get teary-eyed. So that's a part I really miss.
Oh, talk about intense, guys. I mean, you have been looking forward to your retirement for so long, Christine, but yet you just got choked up because it's kind of like this whole blessing and a curse. It's
Yeah.
like you have, you both, I mean, you both have literally had the opportunity to open doors for so many youth and their parents, whether or not they've chosen to walk through that door the way you hoped they would, or if they even understood it was a door. But you talked about love, and you talk about, really making sure that you're committed to seeing them succeed in everything. And that's something that people don't do in just every career, and thinking about, I'm not aging anybody here, guys, but you both saw some major changes in how national testing became the real thing teachers do instead of
Right.
actually having that time to get to know the kids and the
Right.
family. And you guys have seen some changes just with technology. And do you use technology with kids? When do they get to use it? And what does that do? So not only have you had to be that person for these kids, and you've got to do what your goals were and what your dreams were, you had to adapt and grow literally nonstop as an educator. And I don't think some families really understand that. They just expect you are their babysitter. Well, they're there and deal with them, right? And everything's just come so easy. So thank you both for what you do. I'm glad you had your what and you had your who to get you started, because without that, who knows what you would have done, and who knows how many people wouldn't have had the experience you guys had. So there are some collaboration stuff going on with the two of you guys. These two guys met through LinkedIn. It is a global platform, guys. It isn't like they're just sitting next to each other in the same town. You guys don't even live in the same states.
No.
No.
So what do you guys hope to accomplish with this business collaborative?
So, what we're hoping to accomplish with this business collaborative is to be able to reach as many families as we can
Yeah.
and to help as many families as we can. That is our hope. We've had a lot of positive feedback from our classes that we've helped people. We've stopped a bullying situation, Kristen. What was it, like within just like 3 minutes?
Yeah.
And they had that issue all year, but we were able to stop it, and not only stop it from happening, but also improved the child and parent relationship as a result of it. So we know what we do. It's helpful, and there's two of us, two professionals. And how many years, Kristen? I'll let you say how many years combined experience we have.
We have over 55 years experience, but that number really technically is now 56.
I know.
When we
You guys
wrote our
still need
book,
to be
it was
over
55
21.
years.
I love it.
We also have to add yours now in too, because you still have those.
Right.
Isn't it amazing how when you collaborate and when you really bounce off each other, it's not just the way you learn and the way you kind of grow in you guys personally, but okay, we at my job, we do a lot of things with people that are very angry. So we do mediation and conflict resolution and restorative justice. And a lot of times people are not happy to walk in my door, just like sometimes parents will probably not be happy when they get referred to you or they find out about you, or the teachers themselves may not be happy you guys are stepping in. But what I know is when there's two people in the room waiting for people that are not super happy, or they're stressed, or they're confused, they gravitate towards one versus the other. So it may not be that, Kristen, they like you better as a human because you said the right things, or Christine, you're their favorite because you have this degree or something, but they just might connect with you and be like, okay, I'm going to trust this lady. I still don't know about this one over here, but that's something really cool with your guys' collaboration, is that you both have unique skills, but you guys blend together in a way that just can make everybody understand that, hey, if I don't have the exact answer, look at my partner, or Kristen, you jump in here instead of Christine. You guys have that, which is so important. So important.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. We got some more questions. So let's see here.
That's a good question.
That is a good question. And I'm going to let you start with this, Kristen, because you told us you are literally traveling nonstop for your current role.
Yes. At my current position, I'm on the road for 6 weeks, living out of a suitcase. And just luckily, every weekend I land at my parents' house and can kind of refresh. But I think patience is the thing. Even having to fly and dealing with airports and dealing with other people when they're maybe not at their finest and not at their wanting to, be at their best. I think that's been the biggest challenge for me is, learning how to be patient with others.
Very nice. Christine, you want to answer that one or not?
Okay, so I go back to my childhood on this one. So what's one thing I learned? I would go sailing as a child, and my dad taught me how to sail. So we would go sailing, oh gosh, 7 to 9 days, and we would go sailing overnight. So
Mm.
I would always pick like the 3 to 6 shift. So then that way I could watch the sunrise come up. So that was really a special time. Another time that I'll never forget um, was my dad said, I want to take a nap. And he went down below and took a nap and he let me navigate. And I navigated for like 2 to 3 hours. And it was such an empowering feeling standing, and it wasn't like it was super hard to do. All I had to do was to stay on a course, but to be by yourself and to know that you could do it by yourself and there was nobody else around but yourself to be accountable to at that particular moment. And I didn't feel like I could really call my dad because my dad put me to that task and I needed to make sure that I followed through on it. So that self-reliance piece of the sailing is something that I take forward for with me and everything that I do.
I love that so much. And some of you guys know I travel solo the majority of my travels, and I've been to all 50 states, but 26 were by themselves. And,
Awesome.
it's different when you travel for work. It's different when you travel for vacation. And sometimes you can blend them together and sometimes it doesn't work out. But when you have to entertain yourself the whole time, or say you're getting to a conference or you're getting to that new place that you have to present at, you do have to be self-reliant. You have to learn how to adapt. You have to learn how to be confident that things are going to go okay. And when I think of that story, when you said your dad just handed you that, Christine, I think about some of these kiddos that are literally just dropped off at school and say, go figure it out, deal with it. And sometimes parents don't understand the pressure that kids are going through, especially if it's a new school or if it's a school that they've been bullied in, or they haven't connected with any of the adults in the school and the adults don't even want to get to know their names or something like that. And trying to navigate that. I love that your experience was so positive, and I wish everybody's was, especially kiddos, because if they're trying to navigate on their own and they don't even know the course, they don't have all these cool computers and guidelines and things like that. It's kind of crazy to think that they're going to learn algebra and they're going to learn how to do this in order and they're going to remember all of this stuff when they're still trying to navigate that. So just kind of throwing it out there real quick, like, what is one thing that maybe a parent or caregiver could just maybe say to a youth to let them know that they're not in this alone before they walk out that door?
So as you're talking, I'm thinking about what my dad did for me. He scaffolded. So when he was with me, I was using the tiller. He would show me how to navigate. He would show me how he figured it out ahead of time and how he would break it down into smaller pieces. So when he did the release, it wasn't a release just to say, here you go. It was a gradual release of responsibility. So it was, I watched, we did it together, and now you do it. So when we do that for our children, we set them up for success. When we say, you're on your own, kid, we set them up for failure. So we need to do just the right amount for our children to set them up for success. My daughter has special needs, and she told me, she thanked me. She said, Mom, you gave me just the right amount of support that I needed. And that is a challenging thing for a parent to do, whether they have special needs or not. But that is our job.
Oh, I love that. Our jobs change in the role of educator versus parent, but it doesn't change in here, and that's the thing that I love educators that get that, even if they're getting burnt out, even if they're exhausted, even if they've ran out of funds to fund their classroom, even if the parents are not super friendly or wanting to work together. And then I love the parents that are just wanting their kid to succeed and do so great, but they don't even know how to kind of give that step-by-step process because they had a bad experience in school, or they didn't enjoy learning because learning was difficult to them, or they were told that it wasn't important for them to learn because you're a girl, or, oh, you're never going to sit still enough to get this, you're probably never going to graduate, or you won't get that kind of a job. And so hearing, not just the care that you guys have, but actually thinking about ways to make it so that people can learn new skills, because not all of us know exactly what to do. And like I said, times have changed. You guys even talked about technology and everything. So thinking about that is kind of interesting now, isn't it, ladies?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys have different courses you offer. You do different kind of workbooks. I know. I want to say, I don't know if I got a picture of the actual workbook, but there it is. I knew I had it somewhere, but if you got to look really tiny because it's in between them, but go back and watch this on replay if you want, or just go to their actual page. But you guys created this amazing workbook. It matches your clothes. It matches your color scheme. I mean, talk about branding, guys. Let's share a little bit more before we get to some of the other questions in the comments about a little bit about what you can offer and what you want to offer. Who's your ideal client?
So I'll jump in real quick on that and just share that I think one of the things that was really cool is we worked a little backwards with this process. We wrote the workbook and then went, you know what? We really wrote a bunch of classes that go with a workbook. Now we just need to write the class side of things. So we have been able to split the workbook into several different classes for parents to be able to take. And really our ideal parent is that parent that needs help, wants help, feels overwhelmed, and needs to feel some sense of community and belonging, to be able to feel like they've got somebody to lean on. More than anything, I think is our ideal client. But more than anything is anybody with a small child. Anybody could benefit from this. That's the beauty of it. It's not for one type of parent out there. Yeah, any and all parents can benefit from this. In our recent class that we had a parent who had children that were in their teens and much older, and she even walked away saying, I learned a lot from this, and there's a lot of takeaway I see here.
And my guess is, with your experience, I know more about the school system that Kristin's been teaching in for quite a while, let's just say that. But this isn't just for affluent school districts and parents that are super rich and wealthy and they have all these opportunities to give their kids. This is for real life. Any kind of school, any kind of parenting techniques or school techniques, but also think about the change of what a parent looks like and is today. We have a lot of grandparents and sometimes even great grandparents in my town that are the parent main caregiver of the children. We have some people that are in foster care that have had adoption, and things change when you've been adopted or you've been in foster care for a while once you get into the school age, especially the teenage years. So you guys are open to taking on some tough situations, but they don't have to be monumental. They can still be just one question and you guys are there for them. Otherwise, you have them just come into one of your workshops. And how long are usually your workshops?
So that varies too. We have everything from 1-hour classes to 6-week-long classes that run for 45 minutes for 6 weeks. And we meet once a week during that time. Some of our classes are 3 weeks long. We've got a workshop that runs for the month of November or December for the holidays. So we've got a variety of different things that are set up.
See, I love that, because we are unique humans and not one cookie cutter approach works for everybody. So I want to thank you guys so much for being varied in your approach, because as teachers, you got to kind of change it up, because not every student's going to learn. Guess what? Not every parent's going to learn the same way either. Now I'm going to kind of give a little bit of background here. Now, Mr. Watts here, his question, he has been a long-term substitute teacher, and now he is a school behaviorist. So he's the one that teachers call, come get this kid out of my classroom, come sit in this classroom so this kid does that. He wants to know, what advice would you give people when they're actually wanting to go into the field and not to scare them away? I added that, but
I would say to befriend somebody that is a lot older, that's almost exiting, because I'm going to tell you they have it figured out. I had my whole year planned last year, and it was all set to go. So all my photocopying was all ready, all my tier one planning. So all I had to do was do my individualized planning. So it saves a whole lot of time, and it also prevents the burnout. So I try to encourage teachers at the end of the year, plan for the beginning of the year instead of planning for that year. So whatever unit I was in, I was looking at that. How did it work? Did it work this way, or do I need to tweak it? I tweaked it right then and there on the spot, because I got to tell you something, I have a crappy memory. So because I don't have a very good memory, you can't remember from the year before. You're going to go, how did that work? I can't really remember. That's a waste of time. So when you're trying to remember how things go, you're better off just to get it all ready, put it all in chronological order so you don't forget, and it's all ready to go. You take the bin. I just have like a big rolling bin. I take it to my storage area and I start unloading it and setting it all up. It's all ready to go in a half an hour. So just befriending people that know more, it's that's what I would advise. How about you, Kristin?
I think kind of piggybacking on that, finding a way that you can, find someone that you can have support from, but also at the same time, knowing that you've got to build relationships with your students. If you don't have those relationships, they're not going to learn from you. And that's something that I, as a behavior interventionist myself, have been saying to teachers for years. Students don't learn from those that they don't like. That's just the way it is. Rita Pearson says it best in her TED Talk. But I think that, telling the younger teachers coming in to take that time to get to know the kids, I think they're very curriculum hungry and they want to jump in and start teaching right away and teaching the content right away. But they need to teach and learn their students first.
That's huge.
Absolutely. Yes.
I love your guys' input on that. So funny thing, Christine. Now, Kristin, what were the grades you taught mostly?
Special education, but I taught everything from pre-K through 12.
Oh, you did? Okay. Okay. So Christine, I know, is kindergarten teacher, at least most recently. So I thought, okay, this is Miss Naive Jackie in her little privileged world. I thought all my teachers loved me. I thought I was like the teacher's pet. I was the best student. There was this one year that I remember being pulled out with a couple other kids, and we had to do this work that nobody else did other than like the four of us. And I always thought that was because I was extra special. And I got to leave the classroom. I had no idea I was getting special help at that time, never at the level where I was ever needed an IEP or anything like that. But I still thought that I was this perfect little student. I was so excited to be at school. I loved my teachers. There was only one teacher that I didn't like. In first grade, I broke my arm really bad. It was a bullying situation, and they teased me, and she tried to see if I would go down the slide without holding on. And that was way back in the day when they didn't have safety slides. And I crashed really hard, broke this arm, and I broke it so bad that both bones broke and all four bones were sticking out of my skin. And right after that, I got chicken pox, and the worst one was right on my scar. So I was out of first grade for a lot of years, and my teacher still made me do all the same homework every other kid did. So I ended up having her circle back around, and then she was my fourth grade teacher. Loved her. But a year ago, I moved. And I just happened to find all these boxes that my mom had kept of old report cards. Do you want to know what some of those teachers wrote on my report card? You guys guess. Just guess. You guys know me a little bit. What do you think they might have wrote?
Talkative.
Talks a lot.
Talks a lot.
I wondered why you say that.
I can see it saying something about you being helpful and a mother hen to people in the classroom, helping someone.
Never saw that. Talkative. She needs to not talk so much. My kindergarten teacher, Kristin,
Oh no.
she literally wrote, Jackie needs to start playing with girls. She plays with too many boys.
Oh no.
Gosh.
That's never
Now,
been a comment.
let me disclaim that. So I went to daycare with a boy that was basically like my brother, at least I thought he was back then. And I was going to keep playing with him once we got off the school bus and went into class. So I was with him and all his friends. I never thought about playing with girls because he was who I played with. So yeah. And they talked about Jackie being distracted, and they talked about Jackie needs to sit in her seat. And I'm like, I didn't wander. I wasn't distracted. I was always trying to get the best grades, and I was always trying to be the first one done with the test. Guys, I didn't realize until like in my late 20s that I had ADHD. Not one teacher ever talked about it. Apparently they wrote it on my report card, but I didn't know about that until last year.
Oh wow.
Isn't that wild?
Oh, yes.
So
Wow.
I want you guys to know that some of us perceive our school experience different than what is reality. And going back and thinking about that, if I would have known that as a younger, like high schooler, maybe even and stuff, maybe that could have changed a few things for me, but I probably would have still talked a whole bunch. So who knows? What's one of your favorite things you've ever written on a report card for somebody?
Oh, I've been very creative with some of my comments over the years. I think probably, I can't pick one.
I think one time I told a parent that my class was that we had a lot of leaders in our class.
That's a good way of saying it.
They were, because they were leaders.
That's funny.
So I've worked with a lot of kids that make not so great choices and involved with the courts, or they get kicked out of school. That's some of the work I do as well. And I usually will say to certain kids, you are either going to lead the country or lead the streets. And it's leadership skills both ways, but we just want them to be safer.
Yes.
Did you come up with any other ideas on a fun one for a report card, or what did you want to write to parents that you actually did not put down?
What I wanted to write, that's definitely one for the books. I think that there's one child in particular I can think of in all of my years. I was teaching fourth grade at the time, and he thought that I was like his personal assistant. So I wanted to make comments about his way of approaching me and speaking to me, but had to come up with some more creative ways of saying it.
Neat. We're only going to take 2 more questions. So Amber here says, do you think teachers really understand ADHD?
That's a great question.
Okay.
So she's talking about like back when you were younger or now.
I think it's a mixture. I think some teachers understand it and some do not. In terms of back when we were younger, I don't think teachers understood or had any idea of, what was going on. Kids were just assumed to be hyperactive or, acting out behaviorally.
Yeah.
But unfortunately it wasn't seen for what it is, and all of the different things that kids need now.
And I think sometimes teachers are overwhelmed and overworked and stressed. And so they might understand it, but when it comes to actually like trying to help them depending on their situation, it's challenging depending on how much help they have, class sizes, those types of things.
Oh, without a doubt. And, I appreciate you saying that, because the challenges that teachers face, and Okay, I'm just going to say that. If your child's teacher is not stressed to the max and doesn't ask for school supplies, y'all are not living in reality, because you are in some kind of private school that just gives everything, and your kids are not going to face reality when they walk out the school door. So that's my little disclaimer there. Teachers in general schools all across the United States, no matter if they're high poverty, if they're a bustling city, if they're a rural country, teachers are overworked. They are challenged with things that not one of you probably went to school to say, this is what I want to do all day
Right,
long.
right.
And yet you have adapted, and you have taught, and you have had breakthrough moments, and you have had opportunities to really see kids possibly change what expectation maybe you had of them because of behavior issue, or maybe they couldn't sit still, or maybe they were like Jackie and talked too much. But thinking about that, go back, and what would you have told your 19-year-old self going into teaching?
Don't try to be perfect at everything all at once, because I always knew that there was more to do. And so therefore I was never done. And that was
Hmm.
something that I think that led to my eventual burnout. Was just not knowing when to say enough is enough today.
That's intense. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I think mine would be self-doubt, to trust
Mm.
myself more and not overanalyze everything. Now I still analyze things, but I've tempered that part, and the over being overly critical, the perfectionist part. I've let a lot of those things go. When I was working on a paper, working on a child's, can't remember what I was working on, but anyways, I was doing some work and thinking my younger teaching self, or even my younger self, would have expected this to be perfect, but I was okay with it not being perfect, and it wasn't going to make a difference if it looked the way that I did it currently, or the way that I did it before.
Hmm.
I remember, to give you an example of how silly I was with how much of a perfectionist I was. I did this bingo game, and I had to cut out all these little animals. I thought I had to cut them all out instead of like trying to like color in around it. I wanted it to look perfect. And that bingo game was a waste of my time. Probably took me like 20 hours to 30 hours to make a bingo game, because I wanted it perfect for an assignment so I would get an A on it, which was a waste of time.
I love your guys' honesty. I think that's so amazing. So, guys, time just goes way too fast, way too fast. We could sit here and talk. I mean, we hardly even touched on your business, so I'm going to highlight it in just a minute. But if you guys didn't see, Nick's in the comments, and she did put a link to your workshop. Or your workbook, but also, Nick, if you can still hear me, put a link to the different books we were in. So if you guys don't know about Nick, she actually had, gosh, what was there, 36 of us all together, 3
Yes.
different co-authors that all talked about our journeys on social media and how we got brought together and how we learned things and grew. And it's amazing how a platform can bring people together. And now look, I mean, there's business opportunities. Like I shared, Melissa Houston and I, we're doing the Emotional Women. And there are so many people, Dr. Tanya and Damien, they've got the 2350 network. I mean, there's collaborations all over. Don't feel left out if you're not in one yet. There's still time. There's great people that want to learn from you or partner with you, but make sure you do it in a way that is safe. I mean, look at those two. They look like they're meant to be. It's just that when you know that person is your person, you connect with them in a different way. If you're just like trying to make it fit, it probably isn't really your business opportunity, is it, guys? So one of the things that we talk about is, follow you guys on you have a Facebook and you have a LinkedIn business page.
Yes.
Follow them, because even if you don't think you need their skills right now, their services right now, you may end up having a colleague that's like, man, I wish somebody could just help me with this. Or you might have your niece or your nephew or your child come to you and say, I don't even know what to do with your grandkid, or help me out with this. So make sure you're learning from them. Make sure that you have connections with them. Follow them personally too on LinkedIn if you're able to, and really learn about the connection of education and family dynamics, because guys, they don't stay stay little forever. They grow up and they become our bosses and they become our colleagues and they become possibly the police officer that sees us driving down the road. They become maybe the judge when we speak too fast, or maybe they become the person at the library that really is going to help you with a really cool project, or maybe they become somebody that's actually going to be your friend. Because I got to tell you, once you get a certain age, it's really cool to have friends that are like 2 or 3 decades different from you. It's the coolest thing. So you don't know when you're going to need their services, but we do know that these little kiddos that turn into teenagers are going to turn into adults, and we want them supported in a way that sometimes as an individual parent, we just can't give them. It doesn't matter if you already feel like you have a tribe, if you have 2 parents in the household or 2 parents that are seeing the kids, it's sometimes still not enough, guys. And asking for help for your kids, asking for resources to make sure the school system is a better, more functional place for your youth is not a sign of weakness. It doesn't mean you're not a good parent. It doesn't mean that you can't do it alone, but it does mean that you need to use your opportunity to get the information you need, because not one of us knows what we don't know. Correct, guys?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So last thoughts. We're almost done here, guys. Make sure if you guys have additional questions for these guys, please message their business page, put it in the chat right here, message them directly. But final thoughts, Christine, any thoughts you want to end the show with today?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for having us on the show. It's always a pleasure to see you and talk with you, and to see Kristin too. So um, I guess just that I want people to know that we're approachable and that we are willing to help and to take a look at people's unique situations, because no situation is alike. And that we also have the capability to meet with, not only do we have classes, but we can also meet individually and help with a plan to rebuild connections, or to reduce the parents' stress levels within the classroom, or even bridging that gap to the school, and how to talk with the school to help their child meet with success.
I appreciate that greatly. Kristen, last thoughts for you.
Sure. Christine stole a little bit of what I was going to say there. It was perfect. We didn't talk a lot about the fact that besides our classes, we have, one-on-one services that we offer as well. So if parents were to look at our website and say, oh, well, none of these classes really fit what my needs are, there are one-on-one services that, can be done to individualize to individual students or children's needs and parents' needs within the home. So that's definitely something that I wanted to make sure to mention, but also wanted to thank you, Jackie, for having us on as well. So we appreciate it very much.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you. I appreciate what you do. Again, I was a school counselor for 4 years, and you couldn't pay me enough money to sit in that classroom for a full hour, let alone all day, let alone all year, let alone an entire career. So you are the real MVPs, lady. Thank you to all the educators. Thank you to our future educators. Thank you to those that educated us and actually want us to work with people. You guys were amazing. I appreciate you. I did not put a link to your actual website in. So if one of you guys want to go back to the comment section, put your link to your website so people can learn about it a little bit more. That would be great. I am going to have you guys head off the stage now, and I'm going to be in touch with both of you before very long, because a couple things I want to talk about but thank you for being willing to be on the show tonight, and thank you for all you guys have done. Make sure you go back and check the comments. We had some really positive things that people have been saying, and they love you too. So thank you guys so much. I will see you guys later. Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, I am just keep adding the wrong person. I told him I almost wasn't going to mess up technology tonight, and look I did it at the very end of the show, because you know what? Sometimes that happens. Guys, every show is going to be so different. I mean, seriously. It's amazing. We talked last week about incarceration. The week before that, we talked about being an expat and restorative justice work in the courts and all kinds of cool things, being in the service. Next week, we're going to be talking about even different things. Guys, we have 2 people coming onto the stage. One of them's in the crowd right now, Mr. Gregory. We've got 2 totally different humans that are coming next time. They are going to share a whole lot of stuff with you, and you're going to learn alongside with me. So far, the majority of my guests, we have actually had some kind of a relationship, a friendship. We've co-authored books. We are friends of friends, or we've done audio events together. We've done different workshops behind the scenes together. And these guys, I haven't done one-on-one other than a few messages and commenting and doing some things in audio events or these live events. So I am super excited for you to be able to meet both Lane and Gregory on stage next Monday. I'm super excited about that. But I'm also super excited to hear from you guys. What else do you want from this show? Who do you want? And not maybe just a person, but what kind of ideas? Guys, I've got some really cool things lined up, and I am almost completely booked through the month of June. So I'm waiting for 2 people to confirm, and then I might have one more open slot in June. Other than that, guys, we're in July. July. Who would have thought we were in July already for booking? It's kind of wild. I want to thank you guys. I appreciate you that are taking times to watch the replay, those that are joining on YouTube, those that have subscribed to my YouTube channel. We can't get more and more words out until people start actually making that active. So if you haven't seen yet, it is at Jackie Hallberg LMSW. So it's in the little rolly thing right now. Subscribe to it. I don't overpopulate things right now. It's only my Just Jackson guests on there. So I'm not doing any kind of other videos at this point, but you want to be on there. If you've been a former guest, please go back and make sure that you liked your own show and you put some comments on there. You can use your show to show other people that you've been a guest. You've been able to do this stuff because people want to get to know who you are as a human, not just your business. So thank you all for joining tonight. Thank you for the comments. We'll go back and check some of those. Feel free to reach out to both Kristin and Christine in their business page if you guys have any questions or just want a little bit more information, because this is not like all they've got to share. They've got so much other stuff, but we only had a little bit of time, guys. So I can't wait to highlight you on Just Jackson Guests. I can't wait to hear more of your feedback and your comments. And make sure you check and thank your teacher someday, because you are where you are because of all those adults that were in your space. And I hope you had at least a couple great ones, just like Kristin and Christine, that truly care about you. So have a great night, morning, whatever time you're watching this show. This does air every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you got to catch it on replay, make sure that you let me know you're watching on replay. That way I go back on your time zone, hopefully, to respond to things. But I just want to thank you guys all again. It's always important that we work together on some of this stuff to learn more, to grow more, and to really have an opportunity to decide like who should be highlighted, because every one of us are so important and we're all so unique. So with that, I am going to exit myself off the stage and put up my little thing on how you can get a hold of me to get on stage. And then I will see you next week. Thanks, guys.